Can I be honest with you for a second? Sometimes I'm sitting in church or reading my Bible at home, and this quiet little thought shows up. I'm just not that good at this. Not a very good Christian. And most days I can push it away. But then I actually sit down and read the Sermon on the Mount. The whole thing start to finish, and I hit this one line, "Be ye therefore perfect, like God." And I just stop, because if that's the bar, I'm nowhere close. And I think most of us do one of two things with that. We go, well, Jesus was probably exaggerating, or we just quietly feel like we're failing at our own faith. But here's what I want to show you today. I think we've been reading this whole thing backwards. And the moment you see what Jesus was actually doing up on that hill, the verse that crushes you turns out to be the one that sets you free. So here's how most of us read it. We treat the Sermon on the Mount like a to-do list for being a good person. Be humble. Don't get angry. Don't lust. Love your enemies. Give quietly. Don't worry. Forgive. And honestly, it's exhausting. You try for a while, you keep your temper, you watch your thoughts, you're generous. And then you have one bad week, the whole thing falls apart, and you're right back to those two options. Fake it, or feel like a fraud sitting in the pew. That's the trap. We read it like a ladder. Like God's up at the top with his arms crossed, watching us climb. And a ladder like that only ever makes two kinds of people. People who are worn out, and people who are pretending. But look at how Jesus actually starts. He doesn't start it like a ladder at all. Matthew chapter 5. Jesus sees the crowds, walks up the hill, and sits down. And that little detail matters. Back then, a teacher sat down to teach. So everybody leans in. And here's something easy to miss. Hundreds of years before this, another guy went up a mountain about God's law. Moses. He went up to get the stone tablets with thunder and fire, while everyone waited down below, scared. Jesus goes up too, but he sits down right in the middle of them. And the first word out of his mouth isn't a command. It's not try harder. It's not do better. It's blessed. He starts by calling people blessed, like favored by God, taken care of. And you're waiting for the list, right? The disciplined ones, the ones who've got it together. And instead he says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Poor in spirit. Everything turns on that. The very first people Jesus calls blessed aren't the ones who made it. They're the ones who know they didn't. Now, poor in spirit isn't a mood. It's not being sad or having low self-esteem. The actual word there is the word for a beggar. Picture someone sitting with their hands open and empty, nothing to give, and they know it. And this wasn't some new idea to the people listening. Their own prophets already talked about these folks. The humble poor, the ones with nothing to lean on except God. Isaiah said it hundreds of years earlier. "To this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit." So when Jesus opens with the poor in spirit, everybody gets it. He's talking about God's people, the empty-handed ones he always cared about. So think about what he just did. The door into the kingdom, the way into everything he's about to teach. It swings open for the emptiest hands in the crowd, not the fullest. Before he asks you for a single thing, he hands the kingdom to people who have nothing. And that changes how you hear the rest of it. Whatever he says next, he's saying it to people he already called blessed, with empty hands. And this is where it gets strange, because what comes next is harder, not easier. He takes the commands everyone figured they were keeping, and he pushes them straight into the heart. He goes, "You've heard don't murder, but that grudge you're holding on to against your brother, that's already the problem. You've heard don't cheat on your wife, but that look, that fantasy, the thing nobody else sees, that counts too." He doesn't make it easier. He takes it all the way up to be perfect. So wait, why would the same Jesus who just blessed the empty-handed suddenly demand perfection? Is he trying to crush you? No, he's ending a lie we tell ourselves. See, as long as the bar is don't murder, don't cheat, you can go, yeah, I'm basically fine. I'm doing okay. So he moves the bar to the one place you can't fake. The inside, your heart. And the second he does that, the ladder's gone. Nobody climbs their way to a perfect heart. You catch what he just pulled off? He didn't raise the bar so you'd try harder. He raised it so high that you'd finally stop climbing and just come back down to where he started you. At the bottom, poor in spirit. The Sermon on the Mount was never a ladder. It's a mirror, and it shows you the one thing you most need to see. You can't do it. So if you can't climb it, what's it for? Look at how Jesus wraps the whole thing up. He opens by blessing the poor in spirit. And he ends it, the very last picture, with a man who hears his words and actually does them, building his house on rock. A life that's not resting on your own track record, but on the one who said those words and lived them first. Grace at the front door, the rock at the back, and all the impossible stuff held in between. Earlier he'd said something that sounds crazy until you see this. He said, unless your goodness is greater than the Pharisees, you're not getting into the kingdom. Now, the Pharisees were the most serious, most respected lawkeepers alive. How are you supposed to beat them? You're not by out-trying the hardest triers who ever lived. It's a different kind of goodness. One you don't earn. One you receive. A brand new heart he puts inside you, and his own perfect record put into your account. Because there was one person who read this whole sermon and lived every single line. The anger never rose. The look never came. He even loved his enemies all the way. He said, I didn't come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. He climbed the mountain none of us could. Then he walked down it to a cross. And he took his perfect record and put it right into our empty hands. He kept it so he could give it away. So how do you actually live with this sermon now as a mirror and not a ladder? You stop reading it standing up, and you start reading it on your knees. Every time you hit a line you know you can't live. Love your enemies. Be perfect. That's not the sermon beating you up. That's the mirror doing its job. And the right answer isn't giving up, and it isn't pretending. It's that very first line said out loud. I'm poor in spirit right here. My hands are empty. I need you. And stop trying to make the bread yourself. Look at the promise again. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Filled. He's the one who fills the plate. Your job on a hard morning isn't to manufacture a clean heart. It's to stay hungry for one and let him feed you. And when the storm hits, because Jesus ends the whole thing with a storm, it asks your house one question. What are you standing on? Just make sure it's not your report card. Make sure it's the rock, the one who kept every word, and then handed you the keeping. That's the house that's still standing when the water goes back down. So let me be straight with you. This side of heaven, you are never going to fully live the Sermon on the Mount. You'll read, love your enemies, and feel the resentment still sitting there. You'll read, be perfect, and know exactly how far off you are. And that's not a sign your faith failed. It's a sign it finally gets it. Because this sermon was never a test you pass. It's a picture of the heart Jesus is slowly painting in you. From the inside, by grace, over your whole life. And you're gonna spend that whole life at the bottom of a mountain you were never told to climb. Because the one who climbed it came back down to the dust where the beggars sit, and he called them the blessed ones. Empty hands and all. That's the door. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. It only opens one way, and it only fits the people carrying nothing. I'm Norman. This is Faith is Fire. Faith isn't fragile. It's forged in fire. I'll see you next time.